Okay, I'm back. We're still in Genesis, and we are on chapter 6, and I'm going to start with verse 9. There are some things that you need to know in that, and so we shall begin. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. You look up generation, look up prodigy, look up his pedigree, okay? He didn't have any fallen angel blood in him. And Noah walked with God. He put God first, just like we all should. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And the giants were eating people. They were, every sort of abominable act. Their homosexuality. There were mixing of animals, hybrid, the mixing of the humans. There were giants. So, that must have looked so weird. There are no giants of today per se. Well, there was a story that I had heard concerning some army guy or something like that was fighting over in near Iraq in the Middle East somewhere. And they came upon a really big guy, and he smelled really bad, and he had great strength and speed. I think it's possible. The earth also was corrupt before God. Okay, we did that one. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Now, in these times when we're fleeing, the earth is going to help the woman when she goes into the wilderness. It's going to swallow up whatever comes after us. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height 30 cubits. Okay. And a window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories thou shalt make of it. So our ark in these end days is kind of like this. We're going to have an ark, but it's going to be God who will be our ark, and hidden within him. And behold, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, a soul, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wives, and thy sons' wives with thee. Now, a lot of people always wonder, how did the Cainites make it through the flood? Because you can't have Eve, because Eve would have already died before the flood. So this is how the Cainites made it through the flood. And of every living thing of all flesh. That means all flesh, okay? Adam's family are not Adam's, but Noah's family is separate. But he made room for them. And remember that the Kenites are always infiltrating within different groups of people and nations. And of every, flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Now, it would be really interesting to, if there was a book out somewhere. I'm sure it's, within the secret societies and what they teach. But how they survived the flood and, how they made it through everything. Because there's not just the Bible. I mean, there's tons and tons of history out there, but a lot of it has been corrupted. Okay, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle and their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him. Now, before the flood, we had the firmament, and we didn't eat flesh. I mean, per se, we didn't eat chicken or beef or anything like that. We didn't need to, because the earth really produced, and it was good land and lots of nutrients in it. But after the flood, the firmament was broken, so the earth couldn't sustain us with just herbs and things like that, fruit and stuff. So that's when we started eating clean food. Not scavengers, but clean food. Okay. Let's see. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take thee of 7, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2. So for the clean, take 7, which is spiritual completeness, and 2, you have to have a male and a female. Of the unclean. Of fowls, also of the air by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth, 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made I will destroy from off the face of the earth. 40 days and 40 nights is probation. Christ was tested for 40 days and 40 nights. That always pops up, and God has his own kind of numbering, and it's pretty interesting. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Yeah, that's an interesting number too. It's, where the beast and everything, everything in the field and things like that were made on the 6th day, and the ethnos. That's kind of an interesting number there. 600 years old. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters. Now I want to go back. Methuselah, there was a sign that when Methuselah died, then the flood would commence. So we are given a lot of signs today. We'll have the Civil War. Well, first the earthquake, the storm and the earthquake, then the Civil War. Then we have the days of darkness. Noah will have to get into the ark, okay, under his safety. And then the flood of water comes. Not this time of water, but of deception. So, all right. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts and of the beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two into Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day, were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, windows of heaven were opened. Now this would be a very interesting study to do right there in verse 11, because dates and things like that correspond and repeat, like Passover. This could be, at the calendar was different back then, and I really want to do a study on that. But find out the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, something huge happened. If you go into the Colburn Bible, I know it's not the Bible per se, but it is it's an account. It gives you a bigger thing of what happened, and this is when the destroyer was coming in. And I could read that. I think it's not biblical per se, but I was shown that this celestial body is coming back. So in a sense, they wrote an account of what they saw. Whether it in the Bible or not, we can discern it and say, hey, because I had seen that in either the April or May, so it's the 3rd or 4th month, but depending on the Jewish calendar, it could be the 1st or 2nd month of that calendar, see? But I saw it either in May, I believe it is the last weekend of May of that year. So we gotta watch that. But either May or June. See, May, June, July, August, September. We're given 5 months. Now, the first 2.5 months is when Satan is setting everything up. And the last 2.5 months is when Satan comes in saying he is God. So I would say that it actually probably is May. The Pope will say it won't be coming for like 6 to 8 weeks. But when you hear him say that, get out, because you only have like 2 weeks, 14 days. Okay. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with him into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, and every bird after his kind. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, two and two of all flesh, I believe, wherein is the breath of life. That's where the Cainites, a spirit, the nephesh. Verse 15. And they went in, male and female of all flesh, as God has commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. The waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. Now remember, this might have only been regional, because the Catabol was the biggest, hugest flood. There was also another that, was Satan's rebellion. Then there was a deluge before Noah's flood. I think that this flood was intended just to knock out all of the hybrids in that area. Okay, upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, and all of the giants, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all those that was in the dry land died, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So that 5-month period that we talked about before in Revelation chapter 9. So these days and months and everything like that keep coming up. And I was going to say something, and I should have just said something when it came to me. So the purpose, though, of this flood was to destroy everything that was perverted. And they were gathered in that land, trying to destroy the seed in which Christ would come through. And they were taking wives of Adam's lineage. So, and also with the other women in the ethnos. But that solves the problem also of the Cainites, because the Cainites have a purpose, and it's all part of Satan and testing his people, God's people, and getting through the flood of these end times. It's there's going to be some really, really strange days coming. When I was talking about the Catabol, I mean, there were structures, we see bones. If you go back into scripture, like in 2 Peter, the bones of these great mammoth and everything, that was from the first earth age. So, and there's buildings and all sorts of things that have been dug up. So in the Catabol, all these, the big giant animals and everything, that was the end of their time. And maybe, you know, in eternity, they'll come back. I mean, that would be so cool to see. I don't know. You know, even in the first Earth age, though, Satan could have perverted them and, you know, made things like the T-Rex, perverted other things, you know, and that's why it also had to be destroyed. But I bet that there is somewhere out there what really happened, and I bet this is what these secret societies are all about, to keep that knowledge away from you so that you won't ever know. But God always gives us knowledge no matter what. He always sends a remnant to pass the word forward through generation to generation. And these are what the 7,000 are all about. The last bit of the remnant to balance out the 7,000 fallen angels that are going to be cast out of heaven. These fallen angels of Satan. So, yeah, I could talk about this all day. But I need to probably stop this one, try to get another one, and then I gotta clean my house. Okay.